I'm Chris, and Elyn's not here today for this video, guys. This one's going to be me and you. She wanted to stay and play in her room. This is Single Dad Homesteading, brought to you from the great Appalachian Mountains in Northeast Tennessee. So let's get going. Today, we are going to discuss chaga. Everybody's been asking for wild edibles and medicinal plant videos, so here we go. Chaga is actually a mushroom or a fungus that grows on birch and cherry trees. You don't want to take it off of a cherry tree. We'll get into that in a minute. But it has multiple, I got some cheat notes here, uses. So we're going to go over some of the uses, habitat, harvesting it, the way to prep it, different uses that aren't medicinal. So let's get into this. There's going to be some still photos in the beginning, some still photos at the end, and you'll see those. I'm not going to actually go for a walk in the woods. The chaga that I have located here locally on private property, on my property, as well as some surrounding neighbors, I have permission to harvest, and we will, but take you for a walk to see them, but they're not quite big enough. Chaga, you know, you'll find pieces that are this big or just small pieces on the tree, and it's usable, but it takes years for chaga to grow. So when you find large chagas like the ones I'm going to show you, they're 10, 15, 20 years old, if not more. So why you don't want to use it off of a cherry tree? It grows on birch and cherry trees. Cherry trees have a large concentration of arsenic in them. So the chaga has an arsenic level that's not good for your body. So what you want to do is cut a small strip of the bark down to the fleshy part of the tree. It's not going to hurt it at all. Smell the bark. If it smells like cherries, leave it alone. That's a cherry tree. If it smells like birch beer or root beer, that's what you want to use. Very distinctive smells on the two of them. I mean, it smells like cherries and it smells like root beer. So you want to get the ones that smell like root beer. I am not a doctor. Disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a physician. I'm not an herbalist. I'm a good old country hillbilly boy that has a lot of arthritis issues and several knee surgeries, to be exact, 7, shoulder surgeries, back issues, hip issues. So at 45, my body's had a toll taken on it from playing football and wrestling and United States Marine Corps, as well as being a federal law enforcement officer. I had to find some ways to help my body naturally. I don't take a lot of medicine, so I try to depend on fermentation and what the good Lord's given us out here in our environment. So with that being said, when you find chaga in the woods, if you look at the beginning of the pictures or some broke down, it almost looks like a burnt piece of wood on the side of a tree. Usually grows in a conical or a cone shape or a large mass. Looks like the tree's been hit by lightning or something of that nature. You're usually going to find the birch trees that have them will be in a wet area, down toward a spring, a creek, in a valley that holds a lot of water. That area seems to be where they're located the most. It has many uses. I'm going to go over 10 of the uses that I think are the most beneficial, and then I'm going to tell you how I prepare it, how other people prepare it, and why I like one way and don't like the other. The Chinese call chaga the gift from God. They have been using it. I think it's been documented back as many as like 3,000 plus years. So it's been around a long time. It's the first Iceman that they found. Actually, I had 2 forms on him. One was in a tea form. One is in a fire starting form in a clump. And we'll tell you the differences of how to use those two. So, uses for chaga. It helps lower LDL cholesterol. So it really helps do that and prevent blood clots. That's one of the big ones. It supports the adrenal gland. When you first start taking chaga and doing that, it's going to clean your system out really good. And then after that, there's nothing really about it. And it's not like you run into the bathroom every day, but the first day or two you drink it, stay at home for the weekend. Cognitive memory and function. it helps with that a lot. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed and it's a little uncomfortable. I found that it helps out a lot. You guys might not agree with that as much as I stutter and look for words on here when we're doing videos. It helps. The big one that I take it for is it helps fight inflammation. So with the arthritis in my hands, back, shoulders, knees, ankles, every place else, it really seems to help with that. I drink it in my coffee every morning. It helps with endurance. Now I have seen a marked improvement over the years when I'm taking it, and then when I do cycle off of it for a while, just it's a mental thing for me. I don't like to take anything in a way that it becomes what I consider addictive. And anything, food, water. We're addicted to water. We all need it, have to have it. So you use the Chaga as you wish. Slows down the aging process. So my rugged good looks and my many wrinkles, I don't know for sure if it helps on that, but it says that's one of the huge things that it does. That's in every blog, every piece of information and study that I've said. That's one of the ones that comes up over and over, is how it's used in anti-aging stuff. It helps lower blood sugar, especially in type 2 diabetes. I've got an uncle I've been trying to get to take it for a long time. Can't get him to do it yet, so I don't have any first-hand experience with that, but that is one of the big claims, is that it does help with type 2 diabetes. The big one, when I first started researching almost 2.5, 3 years ago, Chaga, it was because I had lost my sister, my baby sister, to liver cancer, and when she was going through her chemo and everything, I started researching natural ways to help her, and Chaga was the one that came up over and over and over in different studies, and not just a hillbilly boy on YouTube telling you about Chaga, but some medical studies and things of that nature. Helps clean the system, kicks that chemo out of your system, and has been shown to slow down the growth of tumors in cervical, breast, and lung cancer. So some things to keep in mind there. And then the last one, which I think is the most important, is that it really does boost your immune system. I can feel I don't really get that sick that often. Last week we had a real bad sinus cold, and I think more of that came from just the fact that we went from 15-degree weather to 70-degree weather to 30-degree weather back to 50-degree weather, and the weather has just been crazy, so it caught up with me pretty quickly. So the ways to prepare it. You're going to take this large conical that you get off this tree. You're going to break it. It usually takes an axe and a hammer or a big rope and a strong man to pull it out of the tree. But it usually comes off in larger clumps. So what you want to do is take a hammer and a cloth, wrap it up in a pillowcase or something, beat it down, break it up into golf ball size chunks, racket ball size chunks, and even further. And you can use it in that form once you've dried it out for several months in a very, very dry, warm place. If it has moisture to it, it's going to mold. Then you're not going to want to use it for medicinal purposes. There are other uses for it. So you let it dry out, and then you take those pieces and you try to get them down. Golf ball size is about as big as I like them, and I put them into an electric coffee grinder, and I grind them up into what we call Chaga tea, but it actually looks just like coffee. You'll see that in the beginning intro as well as the exit. You'll see pictures of all this stuff where it's at. When you see it, it looks like a big burnt piece of wood. Like I said, when you crack it open, it's gold. It looks like gold. When you look at it in those pictures that are going to be provided in the beginning and the end, you can see it clear as day. It just looks like gold. When you prepare it to actually be used, I use a 1/4 cup dried ground chaga to 1.5 gallons of water. Distilled water is best. Straight up spring water is amazing. That's what I use. And I put it into a large stock pot. I pour mine directly into the water, bring it up to just when it starts to boil, mix it with a wooden spoon, put it on where it's simmering and steaming real good but not boiling, and then let it go all day long and just reduce, and it does take all day long. Reduce down to about 3/4 gallon, or to where it is black as the blackest coffee you've ever seen, almost to ink color. You'll see that in the picture in the beginning and the end. You want it really dark. That was when you've pulled all of those properties out of the chaga into your tea. And then what I do is I pour it into quart to liter mason jars, pour it in as hot as it is, close it up, it'll seal, and it'll keep on the shelf for a while, a month or two. And then once you open one up, when you open it, you want to really use it, you know, every day. Just keep it in there until it's gone. I don't really refrigerate mine. I keep mine on the shelf. You don't want to boil it long periods of time, because it kind of kills everything that's in the chaga, all the properties. They sell it online. It's very expensive. I've seen it go $40 to $60 an ounce. I see them make tinctures from it. I will tell you now, I do not believe in tinctures. I know I'm going to make some people mad with that one, but when you add alcohol to any wild edible or any wild municipal plant, it breaks it down. It destroys a lot of the municipal properties. In some cases, it enhances or eliminates certain properties and allows another property to come out that it won't dissolve. But in my opinion, in most cases, tinctures degrade the product in the end result. So I don't like tinctures. I like hot toddies and stuff when I have a cold. I think they help a lot, but you're talking about a totally different thing than taking a municipal plant, breaking it down, putting it into alcohol, breaking it down further. Just to me, you do not get the quality of the properties that are there. And there are a lot of studies that show that with a lot of tinctures, that the actual municipal value of that product goes down. So quarter cup to a gallon and a half of water, reduced down to 3/4 of a gallon of water, and you should be right where you need to be. I actually will take the first couple of days, if someone's taking it, I would recommend doing just an ounce or so in a large cup of coffee or in your tea. You can cook with it. It has just a very bland vanilla taste to it, and some people can't even taste that. When you smell the dry product, it smells very earthy. When you cook it, it has no real flavor to it at all. So you can put it in stews. I've made my oats with it in the morning. I've made rice with it as the liquid in my rice, and it absorbs in, and you get the same properties from that as well. So different ways that you can use it. Chefs like to take and make a chocolate ganache and some other desserts and foods out of them themselves, and then sell them for exuberant amounts of money. So chaga is amazing. It's helped me out a lot, and I am glad that I found it. I'm glad that it's available in our area. Up north, Maine and those areas, the chaga is a much stronger chaga than what we have here in Northeast Tennessee. Ours is very good here, but it just seems up there, it seems when it's there, every study that I've seen, that the municipal properties from that is even greater. So if you can get some from up there, if anybody's got some and wants to send it to me, email me. I would love to have some chaga from up north. So anyway, with that said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that I gave you some knowledge and fulfilled some requests that I had over the comments. We're going to say thank you again to Roots and Refuge, Jess and Maya, for the shout out. We're growing every day. We're blessed very much to have the opportunity to share with you guys, with all of you guys. So with that being said, God bless. Live with what God gave you. And bye.